So multiplying, right? So when we multiply 0.2 times 0.8, whenever you multiply decimals, the best approach is to ignore the decimal points. So this, in effect, then is 0.2, which is just 2. And that, then if you ignore the decimal point there, that's like 0.8, isn't it? And 0.8 is just 8. Now 2 times 8 you can work out. That turns out to be 16. Okay? And then 16 is the answer to 2 times 8. To get 0.2 times 0.8, well, what you need to do then is look how many decimal places there are here. There's one decimal place there, one decimal place there. There needs to be 2 decimal places in the answer. Okay? Because there's 2 decimal places in the question, there's 2 decimal places in the answer. Now you've got 2 here, haven't you? So it would be 0.16, where the 1 and the 6 accounts for the 2 decimal places. Okay, so question 2, 0.2 times 0.1, exactly the same thing again. You do 2 times 1. You ignore the decimal points. So that's 0.2, which is 2. That's 0.1, which is just 1. 2 times 1 is 2, of course. 2 times 1 is 2. Now again, in this question, you've got 1, 2. You've got 2 decimal places. That means you need to have 2 decimal places in the answer. The answer we've got here is just 2 so far, okay? But we need 2 digits, don't we? We need 2 digits. So instead of writing it as 2, write it as 0.2, okay? Because that's the same, isn't it? 2 is the same as 0.2, and then you put the point in front of it. So now you've got your 2 decimals after the point. 2 decimal places is what we needed here. Okay, question 3, 2.6 times 0.1. Now again, 2.6, ignore the decimal point, that's 26. 0.1 becomes 1, just ignore the decimal point. 0.1, which is just 1. 26 then times 1, 26. Okay, easy enough, that one. Now in the question here then, you need to check how many decimals you've got. Well, you've got 1 decimal place there, 2 decimal places there. So again, you need to have exactly 2 in the answer, so 0.26. Okay. Question 4, ignore the decimal points again, so 35 times 2. 35 times 2 is 70, okay, 70 there. Now the answer, then you go question again, there's 1 decimal place, another decimal place, so 2 decimal places, so you need to have 2 in the answer. So you've got your number here, 70, that accounts for the 2 decimal places, so you'd have 0.70, your 2 decimal places there. Now you can leave the answer like that, 0.70, or you could simply write that in 0.7. Okay, so even though you wanted 2 decimals in the answer, you've got them there, but then at the end, then you don't need to actually include that 0. You don't need to write it. You haven't sort of got, it's still there. It's just there's no need to write it down. So 0.70 is the same as 0.7. Okay, question 6. Now with this one, you've got to multiply 26 and 32 once you've removed the decimal points. And this then, to multiply this, you need to obviously use a method, long multiplication, or the box method. Perhaps I'll show both approaches here. 26 times 32, if you use long multiplication, you'd line them up. Okay, so you've got 26 times 32, and we're going to draw a line. And when we multiply now, we focus on that bottom line here, 32. And the first thing we will do is then multiply everything by the 2. Okay? Everything on the top here gets multiplied by that 2 units there. So we start at the top, we start on the right hand side, so we start with a 6. 6 times 2 is 12, so that would be 12, so you write 2. Okay? If it's 12, you can only write a single digit down, so you write the 2. Carry the 1. I'll write the 1 above the next number we're going to multiply by. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 is 5, 52. Okay, so that's now everything multiplied by that 2. Now on the next line, you need to multiply everything by the 3. Okay, but we must remember, before we start multiplying, we must remember to add a 0 first, because everything here multiplied by this 3 actually is 30, isn't it? It's 30, so we need to put a 0 to represent that. Anyway, times by that 3, so 6 times 3 is 18. So 6 times 3 is 18. So I'll write down the 8 and carry the 1. Okay. So put the 1 above the next number. I'm going to multiply by, and then 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. So I've got that there. And I add them. Okay, so I add those two solutions there. When I add them, 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 8 is 13. So 3 carry 1. And then 7 plus the 1 is 8. So 832. Okay, now in my answer, right, of course, the answer to this is 832. But I want the answer to this, 2 decimal places, so I need to have 2 in the answer. So when I've got 832, I'll put my point there, so I have 2 decimal places there. Okay. Now, long multiplication might not be your thing. It might not be what you like to do. You might prefer to use the box method. So in this case, I'll do the box method with question 6. So instead of 14.4, remember now, ignore the decimals. 144. Instead of 2.8, think of it as 28. So 144 times 28. Now, when I do the box method, I need to split up, partition, whichever way you call it, or we're going to break up the number 144 into its hundreds, tens and units. So that'll be 144. We'll do the same then to the 28. So split that into tens and units, 20 and 8. And we're going to multiply them. So when I multiply these in this box here, I look to the column on the left and the row above. Okay? 20 times 100. 20 times 100 is easy because you just do 2 times 1, just 2, and add the 3 zeros. 20 times 100 is 2,000. This box then, you've got 20 and 40, so times them, 20 times 40. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. Add the 2 zeros. This box then, 20 and 4, 20 times 4 is 80. This box then, to the left I've got 8, I've got 100, so 8 times 100 is 800. This box, I've got 8 and 40, 8 times 4 is 32, add the 0, and then this box, 32 isn't it, because I've got 8 times 4. To finish off then with this, I need to add those numbers together, so line them up, 2,000, 800, 800, 320, 80, 32. So line them up in the proper columns, units, tens, hundreds, thousands. Add up the units, that comes to 2. Add up the tens, that comes to 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 3 is 13, so 3 carry 1. Add the hundreds, so 16, 19, add 1 is 20, so 0 carry 2. And then the 2 there, add the 2 is 4. So 4,032. Now I can write that there, 4,032, but again, 2 decimals in the question, so I need to have 2 in the answer. So my answer becomes 40.32.